Hello Internet, I'm Jackie Fox, and I have just found out about an awesome free tool. You guys can check this out, some of these posts, some of the takeaways in a faster form through my YouTube posts in my community tab. But I want to dispute the idea that there is only a singular meta, because that doesn't seem to be true. This is the top 20 ranked guilds from about the beginning of the year until now. There is one unit that is remarkably absent from this compared to other snapshots of the meta, and that's Cloud. A lot of people don't think that Cloud is a good unit. They don't think he's meta viable. And that is largely because the people who say this are looking at this sub-slice of the meta, where Cloud is not present. Now, you'll notice that on defense at least, although it's not on offense, on defense you're seeing Skahal and Resnick, and you see that that was actually kind of at the top once early February, and then it came back early March. So the beginning of the month is good for Skahal and Resnick, right? You're also seeing there are only roughly four elements that are well represented in attacking teams, and one of them is fire. Things are a bit more diverse on defense. You're seeing a lot of elements here, but let's broaden our horizons a bit. Oop. And let's look a little bit lower. This one was actually one of the weirdest ones to me, because this has even less. There are 3 elements on defense. 3. Still not seeing Cloud yet, actually. It looks like the best offensive team is definitely Ice. Definitely Snow and Elia are important to that team. The third slot is probably Velis, who's a little bit lower down, but I would imagine because he's the third slot, there are also people who are using Eliza. Maybe Zoma? I don't know. That's probably cutting into Velis' share, because I kind of agree whether or not you use Velis on the team doesn't necessarily make it good. It can help. It's probably better on defense, although, I mean, Velis is the number 2 ice unit on defense. Wait, there's another one? Elia. Velis and Elia. Snow is a lot higher up. So you're kind of seeing how the ice teams shake out. And look, ice, as someone said to me on Reddit, ice and wind are at the top of the meta. And then if you look at defense, I mean, clearly probably the winner here is light, kind of across the board. Although, I don't know, the pairing of Little Leela and Dark Fina seems really strong, and that's pretty consistent. So maybe Dark, actually, with Ice coming in behind it. So let's broaden our horizons some more. Now, fuck me. Fuck. Okay, one annoying thing about this that is bugging me, but it can be a little bit sensitive about how you put these numbers in. Okay, so here we are. This is the biggest subsection of the meta that we've seen so far. There are 2 times as many players and guilds that are represented by this than the other things. We're still seeing Dark be pretty powerful, although it is slipping. Elena is way overrepresented on defense, and now we're starting to see the dominance of Cloud. I mean, I think that this is going to be... This is the first section of the meta where he shows up, but if we were to take this even broader, it would not be... This might be the last place where he is second. He is... I mean, you can see Lightning and Cloud are just... no other unit even challenges their dominance in this area of the meta, which means that, you know, Water is probably in an incredibly bad place on defense, even more so than it might be in other ranks. Okay, so before we get into the bottom rank, let's look at the big picture. Let's look at what the top 500 guilds are facing. And some of my listeners probably aren't even in the top 500 guilds, so some of the patterns here are even less relevant for you. But once we add all that information in, we see that Cloud is it's not even close. He is so incredibly dominant on offense when you look at a broad cross-section of the meta. We are also seeing a fire unit here on defense, but it's not Sorrow. Sorrow is the main fire unit that you're seeing in the higher rankings. But if you look more broadly, Sorrow falls completely off the map in favor of King Mont. So from here, I want to look at the very bottom of the meta. At least the very bottom that we can see with this tool. So if we're looking at the very bottom of the meta, there's a couple of units that have been historically powerful that just have never died within that meta. On offense, we're still seeing Cloud and Helena be dominant. And over here, we're seeing that Yuna still hasn't fallen off the frickin' map. And she's the strong third for attack teams as well. Elena, surprisingly, falls off quite a bit here, but she is, compared to where she is in other metas, she is doing well. But look at Lucio. Lucio be right up under her. We have not seen Lucio at all previously. Also, a lot of people say that Charlotte is not a good tank anymore, but here she is, being the tank of choice for Lightning teams on offense and defense in the lower metas. We're also seeing Oberon. I think that's the first time we've seen him at all. Maybe Celeste. Definitely Tidus. Tidus, the year after he was released, no one expected it, especially people watching the top of the meta, but he was the #1 most used unit in Arena because he was free and powerful. So what I'm saying here, and I hope that this definitively proves my point, that even though a unit can be strong across the board, they may not be relevant in all different types of metas, and because they aren't relevant, we see no ice. No ice at all here. Ice was big in the others. Light and Dark are clearly doing good across the board, and Lightning is doing pretty well across the board, except that it switches teams once you get up to the higher metas. This is actually the first place where we're actually starting to see some water units as well, which is a little bit surprising. Let's actually make this even more focused on our lowest ranked players. That didn't change a lot. We got Prince Mont on defense. Oh my god. I get it. Everybody has him. That makes perfect sense. We see that Lucio's hopped up a little bit. And Warrior of Light has entered the picture as a tank. I don't think we've seen him before either. So, for anybody saying that there's only one meta, I think you're wrong. I think that, some of the advice that we give to players is a bit short-sighted due to our own, just how we play the game. We don't think about how other people play the game. We don't think about the fact that Cloud is, just once again, the definitive strongest unit in the full high-tier meta. When you look at all top 500 guilds, he's used over 2,000 times at max, and on defense, closer to 1,600. That is amazing. That is multiple Clouds. That is 3 to 4 Clouds per guild. It's just crazy. It's wild how varied and how different it is. Now, I wish there was a tool like this for JP. And actually, what might get really interesting. Bro, okay. So there is a dead zone. Let's take it all the way back. Let's go all the way back. What was that? 7/21. So July? I didn't pick a number. Alright. Well, this is weird. But we see Cloud come onto the picture and dominate. I think this is when Black-Robed Helena was released. You can see that our 2 first 100 cost units were huge, remained huge. You see that, you know, Mont kind of dipped off a couple times. In fact, we see the biggest dip for Mont when Helena comes out because he can't tank her well. And then we see Cloud come into the picture. This seems to perhaps hasten the decline of Mont, perhaps due to defense penetration / penetration. And this is also the point where Cloud and Black-Witch Helena start changing their ranks, like, across the board. Although, again, as with most units, we see them decline. Now, oh man, this is probably, if I had to guess, Lolila the Bold. So yeah, so this second coming of Elena probably goes with Locke. And then we see a steady drop off because while they were an amazing combination, Evade died pretty quickly after that. And then, let's see, who is this? Jume? Yep, Jume had a big impact on the meta. And you can see her, you know, kind of remaining sort of stable throughout. She didn't fall off as much as other tanks, although at the same time, she never had quite the dominance that some of these units did. And I think that, you know, this was a redefinition point for the meta, so that kind of makes sense.